Hi, everyone. I am Olivia Norman from AmpU, and today I'm here with Brian Wiggins, an artist manager at Three Faces Entertainment, and he is one of our partners at AmpU, so we just wanted to take this opportunity to interview him and kind of spotlight him and all the great work that he does. So, Brian, to start off, can you tell me a little bit about your background and how you got into the music industry in the first place?
Absolutely, absolutely. And first of all, I want to thank you for this opportunity because AmpU has been such a great partner for me and Three Faces in general. Working with our first artist, we're a relatively new record label and entertainment services company. So I really do appreciate this opportunity. But yes, to just dive right into it, I actually came from a corporate background. I've been in the banking industry for almost a decade. And I mean, that's really my bread and butter. That's what I know extremely well. But I've always had some level of like a tie to the music industry. My parents, growing up, my parents always played music, especially within hip hop and R&B. I just grew up a real like strong connection to and love for music. So I have an older brother who's a couple of years older than me, and we've been talking for about 5 years about how we want to start a business together. And naturally, going into the music industry was something that we wanted to do. We weren't exactly sure in what capacity we wanted to do it, but um, I, I mean, we've been brainstorming for 5 years, and in March of this year, we actually took that step forward to actually start the business. And I'm extremely happy with the early success that we've seen so far. So I can attribute a lot of that success to AmpU, and I can dive into that more within this discussion. But yeah, that's just a little bit about me.
Awesome. Well, congrats on starting your new company. Um, Sounds super cool. So, at your new company, can you tell me a little bit more about what you guys do, what your current role is as an artist manager, and sort of what that day to day looks like?
Absolutely. So, as a startup, we're a record label, new in the industry. Honestly, our role and objective is to be all of the things to our artists. And our artist is D Mills, an up and coming artist out of Texas, extremely talented guy. It was an easy decision to make whenever my brother and I started this company. We said, hey, we are going to need strong talent out of the gate to really set up what we're trying to do long term. And even though we're technically based in Atlanta, Georgia, which is where I live currently, our heart and our home is in East Texas. So we wanted to find an artist who is from that area. We had a lot of talent to choose from, but with D Mills, we were like, okay, this is the route that we need to go. And with Three Faces, essentially, like I said, we're everything from like the artist development to the marketing to the working with different partners such as AmpU from an A&R perspective. I, Three Faces, we're really that connection point between the artist and all of the different support functions to make sure that he has a successful career.
Very cool. So that kind of perfectly segues into my next question, which is what did D Mills do to stand out to you? And kind of broadly, what can aspiring artists do to get noticed by artist managers?
Yes, and that's a great question. And before I started this company, I really didn't have an idea of how much or the level of requests that these record labels get from artists who want to be signed to a label. Um, but I learned quickly that hey, there's a ton of demand for record label services. But the thing that I look for and what we saw in D Mills is hey, you have to have a plan and show that you're serious about this because as everybody says, time is money and we don't have unlimited resources. So if you are reaching out to try to get signed to a record label or find just different partners or a manager to help you navigate your career, you need to be serious about this. And we saw that in D Mills. Number one, that his talent is what really separates him from the pack. But just seeing that he was serious about his craft, he was serious about trying to be successful and identifying where we as Three Faces could come in and provide value to him, that's exactly what we were looking for. We didn't want to start with someone who was like, hey, I want a record label. Can you sign me, give me money, and release my music? It's like, no, it doesn't work like that. This is a two-way street. So yeah, I would, if someone is looking for advice to be able to get onto a label, whether it's a local label or even a larger company, you need to look at what value you bring to the table. Why would another company, a label, or a manager, why would they want to spend the time and invest the money into you as an artist?
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. So D Mills is in the hip hop scene. So have
Nice.
you faced any inherent challenges or advantages of managing an artist in the hip hop scene, maybe compared to another genre?
Yeah, so I can speak specifically to hip hop, but I do think my feedback is going to be it would translate across all of different
Hmm.
genres because what I would say is one of the key disadvantages is also an advantage. So the disadvantage that I'll point out is that this is just such a saturated genre and industry in general. Anyone can, call themselves an artist, a rapper, and they make a ton of music. Quality could be great or it could be not so great, but they have the same capabilities to be able to get on these different platforms and to reach out to different partners in the industry. So what that means is anybody and everybody has access to get into the industry. So it's kind of tough to stick yourself out and say, hey, this is legit. This is what you need to pay attention to. This is an artist who can have a longevity in this industry. But on the flip side, it's also a major advantage having um, so many people in the industry. It means that the quality can usually be identified relatively quickly. So if you have an artist who is extremely talented, which is what we believe at Three Faces we have in D Mills, if someone has that talent and they're serious about this, they stand out from the pack pretty easily.
Yeah, makes sense. Very cool.
Absolutely.
So, sort of pivoting to a question that everyone is asking these days. How has COVID and just the new normal that we've gotten used to affected your business strategy or your day to day how you're navigating the music industry?
Yeah, I definitely have to say that I sympathize and can understand how difficult of a time this is just for everybody across the board. Um, uh, but the way that we operate, we always look at, hey, how can we make the most of this environment? And what this pandemic has allowed us to do is to focus on quality and not worry about having to rush and put music out into the market that like I said, when you're trying to separate yourself from the others, you have to constantly be in front of people and constantly putting out new content. But with this pandemic, there's not as much activity in certain spaces. So we're able to focus on quality, and we're building a catalog that I think is going to have a long, long lifespan. So yeah, I mean, this pandemic has definitely been a challenge, but it's also allowed us to focus on, the music and the art, the craft that we really want to, put out some quality material.
Yeah, a little bit of a silver lining there.
Absolutely. Yes.
Then moving on to, I know you're early in your music career and your business career with Three Faces, but what would you say has been maybe your biggest career success up to this point?
Yeah. So we've had a number of smaller wins, but I'll speak to one of our biggest, and and I can actually attribute this to our partnership with AmpU. But growing up, we've been crazy about a specific artist out of Houston who, in our eyes, is just a legend. In East Texas, he's a legend. So, growing up and listening to people that we call legends, and then having the opportunity to work with them in the capacity that we were able to work with this artist is, yeah, I mean, I would easily say that this is hands down our biggest success so far. So our next release is going to be, it's something I can't wait to put out because it's going to have such a huge impact on the folks in East Texas. So I'm looking forward to that.
Very cool, very cool. Any idea when they can be expecting that?
Oh, very soon, very soon. I wish I could give you a date,
Awesome.
but it's going to be very soon.
Well, we'll be on the lookout for that. And
Absolutely.
then just to end us off today, sort of a fun question. If you had a magic wand or an endless amount of money, what would the coming months look like for you, whether that be new artists you would partner with or different experimental business strategies you would take? What would be your dream sort of few months?
Yes. Yeah, no, you actually just hit the nail on the head. So if we had an unlimited amount of money and time, I'll revert back to something that I said earlier on this call. We're from East Texas. Like that's where our home is. That's where our hearts are. So whenever we have the opportunity to put a spotlight on East Texas and potentially bring on some more talent from East Texas, that's what we would love to do. So if we had all of the time and the money to do so, we would, oh my gosh, there's so much talent in East Texas. We would sign as many artists as we could, just to show that, hey, there's a lot of talent here and you really need to take a look at them.
Yeah, that's always fun going back to where you're from and helping bring up the music scene there.
Absolutely. Yes. Yes.
Well, that's all the questions I had for you today. I wanted to thank you again for taking the time to talk to me. Thank you on behalf of AMPU for being such a great partner with us. And we will make sure to get anyone your contact if they reach out to us or is interested in learning more about you. And just again, thank you so much.
Oh, absolutely. And thank you so much thank you for this opportunity. And I just want to be clear again that, hey, the work that we've done with AmpU has been second to none. And I really and truly mean that, because within this industry, one thing that I learned early on is that relationships are key to success, and being able to tap into the network that AmpU has and just taking some of the guidance from your team is really set us up to be successful going forward. So thank you so much for this.
That's great to hear. And we wish you the best of luck moving forward.
Thanks.
All right. You have a good night.
You too. Bye-bye.